Today we're going to be unboxing 4 different variations of the high top Cool Gray 11. We'll be taking a look at the 2001 original, the 2010 retro, the 2017 football cleat, and the 2021 retro. I'm excited to break down all the styles, cuts, and materials of these sneakers, and if you guys didn't know by now, my name is DJ, and this is the DNA show. So before we get started breaking down these shoes and cracking these boxes open, we gotta talk about history first. So a lot of people remember Michael Jordan playing for the Chicago Bulls from 1984 to 1998, but he had a short career with the Washington Wizards as well, which brought on a whole new set of colorways, and then we saw the Cool Gray 11. During this time, we saw a bunch of different retros from the Jordan 16s, 17s, 18s, and he was rocking a bunch of cool stuff on court. We even saw the True Blue 3s come back to life, the French Blue 7s, the Cool Gray 9s, and that opened the door for us seeing other shoes besides red, black, and white colorways. Typically, when it comes to original Air Jordan 11s from 95, 96, we always think of Columbias, Spreads, and Concords. So some people consider this to be an OG, and others call it a Retro Plus colorway that came out a long time ago. I'll let you guys make your verdict down below in the comment section. But either way, at the end of the day, this sneaker is extremely fire, a little bit of yellowing, but it's still clean. So now that you guys know a little bit of history about this sneaker, I want to show you guys the 2021 version in depth, and then we'll start with all the breakdowns and comparisons between the shoes and the boxes and everything like that. So starting with this box right here, you have your classic OG style Air Jordan box when it came to the OG 11s way back in the day, yet we hadn't seen this on an OG Cool Gray because the OG came with the face box, which I will talk about a little bit later in the video. But either way, this box is decked out with the Cool Gray vibes. You got the Jordan right here with the small Air and the Jordan Jumpman logo here in center with the white. You got your light gray lift off lid, and then you got your dark gray on the bottom. The size tag reads Air Jordan 11 Retro, medium gray, multicolor. Now lifting open the lid of the box, you have your classic black plastic paper, and then you got the shoe. Oh, you got the shoe. Okay, first impressions of this sneaker. I already saw the promo sample before they came out, so I already knew what they was gonna look like. But either way, I'm still happy to have them in my collection. So we're gonna run through this shoe really quick so I can show you guys a couple details on the sneaker, and then we'll get started with the comparisons. Looking at the outsole, you have your translucent blue bottom with the gray pods and the classic carbon fiber hit on the center of the foot. Flipping up to the midsole, you have a white midsole right here, a dark gray patent leather, and a nice suede upper with the lighter gray. These come equipped standard with a pair of white laces, no additional laces, no additional hang tags, and I'm telling you right now, that is completely fine because the OG must always stay OG. Honestly though, what color laces would you put in here besides these? Like, if you think about it, like, I couldn't even imagine another lace in here. Do people lace swap this shoe? Going to the back of the shoe, we have seen different iterations when it comes to the Jordan 11s recently over the past couple years. We saw the 45, we saw Stitch, we saw Heat Press, we saw a bunch of different things. On here, we have a Heat Press 23, classic like the OG, and then you have your Jordan Stitch logo here with the Jumpman on the side. So after seeing those in-hand looks and those detailed shots, let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Now, it's time to do the comparisons. So we're gonna start with the OG compared to the newest retro. I'm going to show you guys some polls, what everybody else thinks about the comparisons as well. So if you haven't already, make sure you follow me on IG so you can participate in the polls and see all the results here on the channel. And as you can see right here, 69% of the people like the newest retro, and I completely understand it. A lot of people didn't have the opportunity to either purchase the older retro, or they're falling apart, they're yellowing, a lot of other factors, so it makes sense why people like this new one. Now let's compare these two shoes and break them down, because this is probably the most relatable comparison between all the sneakers. Starting with the outsoles, as you can see, there is a clear difference when it comes to the translucent vibes. You have your yellow tint here on the OG and your ice blue tint here on the newest retro, and I have a couple things to mention about this when it comes to the 2010 version, which we'll talk about a little bit later in the video. But overall, we're gonna assume that this pair is gonna look like this 20 years from now, but who knows, we shall see. Also, when you put the pods next to each other, when it comes to the gray on these two shoes, they are actually slightly different. I would say the lighter color gray would be on the OG, and it's just a little bit darker here on the retro. Looking at the carbon fiber on both shoes, they actually do look pretty similar. I would say the OG is just a little bit darker. Midsoles, nothing really too much to talk about on those. Obviously this one's aging a little bit, so it's going to show a little bit of discoloration, but besides that, essentially the same. So unfortunately this is a size 10.5. I had to borrow these from my friend for this review because I got rid of my original pairs back in the day. As you can see from the photos right here, this was from back in 2010 when I used to have them, and then I sold my pairs, I would say probably probably about 4 years ago, 2017, sometime around then. I took the money and I used it to purchase some homes, and now I'm on the hunt to find another pair again. But it is what it is, because I got multiples of these and I'm still a happy camper. I'll try to show you guys scalable size photos, but either way, I'm telling you right now, it's just a little bit higher cut when it comes to the newer retro. Now, when it comes to the overall shape and the slant and the slope and the bulkiness of the toe, whatever you want to call it, I would say yes, the 2021 version is slightly bulkier around the top of the toe, and we definitely saw that a lot when it came to the Legend Blue 11s, and that was one of the main reasons why I decided to sell that shoe, because those just look like square toes. Jordan Brand has definitely been working on the shape and mold when it comes to the OG style and OG cuts, and I completely get it, because this is more similar to the actual OGs from way back in the day, and because this was a 2001 retro, these actually had a little bit different shape when it came to them versus the OG. On the back of the tongue, you have a patch right here stitched, and it's a black patch with white text and a gray Jumpman. Now, when you look at the tongue on the back of the 2021 retro, it says the same thing, but it's a different color. It's a light gray with the dark gray Jumpman and no black hit on it at all. So very similar, yet different. Another thing that I liked about this as well, these came with the Jumpman on the insole, and these did as well. We've seen the OG style and the OG cut typically come with the Nike Air, because that's when Jordan Brand was just through Nike, and then they became their own entity and was able to use the Jordan Brand logo and got rid of the Nike Air. And then now in current time, everybody wants to see the Nike Air back on the shoes, because that's how the OG style was. That's a whole nother little set of controversy, but it is cool to see that they kept that going. Another thing to mention when it comes to the Jumpman logos on the sneaker, some Jordan 11s had the Jumpman facing in different directions, but when it comes to the replication from the OG to the retro, the Jumpmans are facing in the same direction both on the right and the left foot. So that's something cool as well, because we've seen different retros like the Bread 11s and stuff like that, and the Jumpmans happen to be facing in different directions based on the generation that they came out. Now, when it comes to the 23 branding on the back end of the shoe, as you see the heat press right here that they've done, it looks pretty solid. It blends in really well, and this kind of looks like it's sitting on top of the material compared to in the material. So there definitely could be a potential chance of the 23 rubbing off when you wear this shoe with pants, and we've seen that happen to a lot of people over the years, so I wouldn't be surprised if it happened on these. So now let's talk about the boxes real quick. When it comes to the OG box, we saw a lot of face boxes back in the day, and this is something that a lot of people love, and I wish they brought back, but yet at the same time I kind of don't wish they did, because that's a nice little nostalgic era. Besides the iconic hit with the silver face on the box, we have a black exterior with the silver Jumpman here on the side of the box, your classic black Jordan size tag right here. Now, lifting open the box, you got some white paper right here, kind of yellowed from time, but one of my favorite things that we just don't get anymore, the retro card. This right here, oh, I don't know what it is, but this thing right here is very special. So as you can see right here, two different boxes, unique in their own ways. Let me know which box you guys like down below in the comment section. Honestly, the face box, it's just so hard to beat. I still gotta rock with the OG. Next up, we have the Cool Gray 11 from 2010, and the opening process of this is very meticulous, so let's go ahead and get into it. Starting with the box, you have your overall gray shroud right here with your 23 on the top and your Jordan Brand logoing right here that you see on the tongue. And then on the side of the box, you have your metallic gray vibes right here representing the patent leather on the shoe. Looking at the size tag on these, it reads Air Jordan 11 Retro, medium gray, white, cool gray. So now what we need to do next is pull the tab open and pull the shroud off right here. Get rid of that. Now you have your Jordan 11 right here with the plastic material right here on the top. Very similar to the DMP pack. Y'all remember the top of that, and it had the photos of Jordan shooting the shot with the 6s and 11s, stuff like that. Also on here with the small text, it says Tinker made them shine, Mike made them fly, you made them iconic. So give yourself a golf clap in the comment section. So pulling off the plastic piece right here, you got the shoe. Oh, you got the shoe. So now what I can do when it comes to these two shoes is definitely show you a lot of differences when it comes to the overall style, cut, and slightly colors on these two shoes, simply because they came from different generations, and we have seen a lot of iterations when it comes to the Jordan 11 in particular over the past 10 years. And this is kind of one of those shoes in that era when we saw the Bread 11s and the Cool Gray 11s and the Space Jams all having very similar yet slightly different molds on them, and they were kind of just trying to figure it out still. So that's something to take note when it comes to the cut of the patent leather on the back end of the shoe and the overall shape of the two shoes. These are both a size 13, so this is a great example of how far the shoe has come. Starting with the outsole, you have your same translucent vibe. These are starting to yellow from over time, but as you can see around the gray pods, it's just a little bit darker around this section. And we saw this on the Concords and the Space Jams as well that came out 10 years ago. So I'm definitely interested in seeing what happens to this 2021 retro some years down the line. Now when it comes to the carbon fiber on these two, these are honestly very, very different. This one looks like complete squares and the other one looks more like the OG. So now when it comes to the cut of these two shoes on the patent leather on the back end of the shoe, as you can see, they are very, very different. And when it comes to the cut of the patent leathers, I've definitely seen a big debate between a lot of people talking about they like the higher cut or they like the lower cut. So I'm interested to see what people think. And this is what they say when it comes to the overall which shoe people like the most. So based on the results, a lot of people like the 2021. I think that's simply because it's similar to the OG. They can get their hands on it and a lot of other factors. I low-key like these more than I like the 2010 as well. The shape and mold of the Jordan 11s from this time was definitely very interesting. I can't say I didn't appreciate it, but I do like that OG cut a lot more. Like we talked about earlier in the video, the Jumpman's on the side of the shoe, right? So when it comes to the right foot, the Jumpmans are facing in the same direction. But when it comes to the left foot, the Jumpman is facing in the opposite direction. And this is a prime example of how we were talking about how they switched the Jumpmans in that era. Going to the Jordan branding on the tongues right here, everything is pretty much identical when it comes to that. Laces, very, very similar as well. But the overall shades of the grays and the materials of the two shoes is definitely different. As you can see right here, side by side, the patent leather is a lot darker on the newer pair, and the cool gray suede on the upper is also darker as well. Another thing to notice when it comes to these, remember we saw on the OG, the back of the tongue was black, and then it had the gray Jumpman. These are actually black with a gold Jumpman on the 2010 retro. Now when it comes to the quality of the 23 and the heat press and the overall look of these two shoes on the back end, I would actually say I think the 2010 looks a little bit cleaner, a little bit sharper than the 2021 version. Let me know what you think down below in the comment section. Also on the 2010 retro, these have the Jumpmans on the insoles as well with the gray insoles and the gray sock liners, so nothing really different on that. Now let's take it to the cleats. This box obviously is just an all black box with a gold Jumpman, nothing too special about it. Definitely the weakest box out of all of them. But lifting open the box, we got some gold all over print 23s on there. Ooh, nice. And then peeling back the paper, you got the cleat. Oh, you got the cleat. So now I know there are other cool gray 11s like the low tops, but I just wanted to do all the comparisons on the high tops. And this is a high top cool gray 11 football cleat. And I'm a football player, so I gotta show my love to the cleat fans too. All right, so when it comes to the outsoles, obviously very different. Not much to say right there. And when it comes to the midsoles, also different. But one thing that I do want to point out is the material switch up on this cool gray cleat and what we thought actually might have came out when it comes to this retro. Because we all remember Jason Tatum posted a photo on the internet showing a Jordan 11 with a mesh upper, and it had a cool gray mesh upper compared to the typical nubuck that we always see. So we saw this and I was like, wow, I have the cleat. I know exactly what that would look like. That would actually be kind of dope if we saw a cool gray 11 with a mesh upper, because we typically see the mesh upper on something like the Bread or the Concord or something like that. And this always has this cool gray with the suede. So honestly, it would be kind of dope to see a cool gray 11 with a mesh upper. Let me know how y'all feel about that down below. Now looking at the cut and the shades of the patent leather, as you can see right here, definitely different. This one's a lot lower and it has a different shape and mold when it comes to the shoe because it's meant for performance, so we got to understand that. Now when it comes to the patch on the back side of the cleat, you got your darker gray patch with the light gray Jumpman compared to your lighter gray patch with your darker gray Jumpman on the newer retro. So obviously with these two comparisons, there are going to be some similarities yet differences as well. I just wanted to give it a quick highlight because I love football cleats, and typically when we do these 11 videos, I always throw a pair of cleats in there as well when it comes to the comparisons on the classic history of the Breads, the Concords, and all those other videos. And if you haven't seen those videos from the past, make sure you go check those out. So overall, that's a pretty quick look at the different generations and the styles and cuts and materials, qualities, you name it, the people's opinions, my opinions, all those different things. So when it comes to the OG, this is a case-by-case scenario. What is the quality like? Are they falling apart? They probably are because they're so old, but there's a lot of different factors. So I'm gonna say these are ranging anywhere from 300 to 600 bucks, depending on the yellowing and all those other things. When it comes to the 2010 retro, these are gonna be hitting for somewhere just around 500 bucks. As you can see right here, size 13, they taxing, bruh. Good thing I still got my pairs. Now, when it comes to the cleat, these were hitting for around retail for a while, but like everything else, typically what happens, you sit on the shoe for a little bit, the price starts to go up. Doesn't really matter for me because I'm just collecting them. But as you can see right here, there's an offer for 150 bucks online, and somebody just sold a pair for 300 bucks. So let's just say these are worth around 250. Now on the 2021 retro, these are going to be hitting for somewhere around mid 300s on this shoe, and I think that's case by case depending on the size. But what I've been seeing online when it comes to online StockX type prices are somewhere around there. And then when you look at the local market, maybe OfferUp or something like that, you're probably going to catch them for somewhere around 290 to 320 bucks, somewhere around there. So when people ask me, should I buy this shoe, should I wait, what should I do, I think if you want to save some money, you should wait for a little bit, let somebody wear them. Next thing you know, you might be able to cop them for 220 or 240 and get a used pair that's been worn a couple times. Or, you know, you might even be able to find a pair for 180 bucks. So there's a lot of different ways to look at it, but if you plan on getting these for Christmas, yeah, you might have to drop that dollar because Christmas is right around the corner and I know people need them. But anyways, at the end of the day, this is a quick look at all the different shoes compared side by side and some beauty shots with them all lined up. Hopefully those were some good photos and videos to give you guys a better understanding of the shoes, and if not, I can't help you. I love doing breakdowns when it comes to generations and different sneakers like this, and the history and the nostalgia when it comes to the OGs and how they've transformed over the years with the retros and everything like that. This doesn't happen too often from Jordan Brand, but every single time we get a chance, you know I gotta give you guys a review. And if you guys haven't already, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in another one. All right, y'all, I'm out. Yo, if you enjoyed this video and you want to make extra money or grow your shoe collection, I want to give you a free video with my 3 tips that were the most powerful that will help you grow your sneaker collection and make an additional $1,000 to $10,000 a month. All you need to do to get this free video is click on the first link in the description or the comment that's pinned in the comment section. That'll take you to a page where you can enter your email address, and I'll make sure that I send you a video right away. And if you enjoyed this video, again, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. My name is DJ. I'm signing out. I got to go. I'm gone. Peace. Yo, if you guys made it to the end of this video, drop a comment down below and let me know 3 different NBA players that you saw wearing the cool gray 11s on court in a basketball game.